right, cool, and we're finally back. The Pharaoh servant box finally came in. So yeah, I opened the Blue Eyes box previously, and now let's get to opening the Pharaoh servant box. Honestly, I had another Blue Eyes box come in as well too. I don't know when I'm gonna open that. Supposedly I was supposed to have two of them, but then the other one got delayed. I don't know if they ended up canceling it because the price was too low when I ordered it, and they're saying, oh, there was a shipment error. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, Pharaoh Servant. From what I remember, I think Pharaoh Servant is actually the second set that came out. Obviously, there's Buster Blader in the set, Gearfried, the Iron Knight, and Relinquished. As for what other cards are in this set, I'm not really sure. I think Jinzo is actually in this set. God, again, this is just so nostalgic to just like see these packs, to be honest. And then we have our perfect fit sleeves. Again, I recommend if you're opening Yu-Gi-Oh cards, or if even you're like, you know, storing Yu-Gi-Oh cards, perfect fit sleeves. That is your go-to. All right. I'm not sure. Like last time I remember when I opened these, the Blue Eyes box, everything was kind of piled up and I got all the hollows. But then I found out, oh, I think there's supposed to be 7 hollows within each box. And then I'm not sure if those rates are guaranteed. But let's take a look at the cards. Invitation to the Dark Sleep. When this monster is summoned, select one of your opponent. As long as this card remains face up in the field, selected monster cannot attack. But it's 5 stars though. Crap. Cold Wave, banned. This card can be activated in main phase 1 until your next turn. You and your opponent cannot play or set any spell or trap cards. Is this still banned? I'm not really sure, but pretty fucking good. Cards that you would probably never play as a kid because you're just like face is the place, right? But then when you think about it as an adult, it's like, oh, that might be actually like a pretty good card. Continuous Trap Inspection. During your opponent's standby phase, you can randomly select one card in your opponent's hand. Look at it at the cost of 500 points. That's pretty awful. Reign of Mercy. And one thing to also note down to on older cards compared to newer cards will always say spell cards. And don't forget when I was saying how you tell between the reprints and the original one, reprints will always have the 2020 copyright date as opposed to like the 1996. Hayabusa Knight can attack twice during each battle phase. Flame Champion, 1900 attack, but requires 1 sacrifice. Insect Barrier. Solemn Wishes. Increase your life points by 500 each time you draw a card. I remember using Solemn Wishes a lot of times in the Game Boy games, especially if I'm running like any kind of like a stall deck or like a Slifer deck or something like that. Or you play like the... What was it? Like you find some way to burn people's life points with it. I don't even remember. It's been so long since I played the games. When a monster is set, and your opponent target one of your set monsters, change that set monster to face-up attack position. Enchanted Javelin, another healing card. Twin-headed Fire Dragon. Appropriate. Activate only when your opponent draws a card outside of their either draw phases. After that, each time your opponent draws a card outside of the draw phase, immediately draw 2 cards. I guess it's somewhat not bad. Deep Sea Warrior. As long as Umi is face up, is unaffected by any spell cards. That's pretty awful. Bubonic Vermin. Special summon from your deck in defense position and shuffle your... So this is kind of like a poor man's Nimble Mamunga. If you want to like just like sacrifice tribute fodder. Gamble. You can only activate this card when your opponent's 6 or more cards and your hand is 2 or less. Okay, that's really specific. Which is pretty good. We're not hitting the foil. I'm not even sure it's a good thing. We're not hitting the foils just yet, as opposed to like the LOB box I opened and the Metal Raiders box, where I think all the foils were on top. Gradius, of course, there's like the Gradius deck. Darkfire Soldier number 2, 1700 attack. So this would have made like pretty good like GOAT format like beater at this stage of the game if you didn't have like the 18 like the Logins, like multiple like starter decks. Thousand Eyes Idol, you would need that for Relinquish. Nobleman of Extermination. I remember this was kind of like a... Oh, and Magical Hats. That's our first holo. So Nobleman of Extermination was like one of the... Same as Nobleman of Crossout, except this one's just for spell and trap. And if it's trapped, then you remove all the traps of the same name. So if someone had like a trap hole, for example, you get rid of all of them. If you knew like your friend ran multiple of them. So magical hats, I don't think that was ever good, ever. Infinite dismissal, level 3 lower monster are destroyed during end phase of the turn. They are summoned or flip summoned. Oni tank, light of intervention. When this card's on the field, monster cannot be set or flip face down. If it's set, it must be normal summon in face up position. So like that'll kind of get rid of any kind of flip effect monsters if you're playing light of intervention, which isn't really that bad if you're like kind of like really annoyed at one of your friends that would play a lot of things like man-eater bugs or like cyber jars at this point of the game. So magical hats was our first holo. Probably would have been a good holo to pull like if you're watching like the show and you're a fan of like, oh, Dark Magician Yugi, but the actual card itself was not as broken as in the show. DNA surgery, added uses. Three-headed Guido. Always kind of reminded me of like the Evangelion angel monsters. Time seal. Skip your opponent's next draw phase. Wait, skip the draw phase? Yeah. Very ridiculous. World suppression. You can activate this card when this field spell is activated and negate the field spell. And during this turn, the card is activated. Morphing jar number 2. I always ran this in my decks because they were always really, really, really annoying to play against. Same for Cyber Jar before it was banned. I played Cyber Jar as well too. Insect Barrier, Eye of Truth, Oni Tank. Yeah, I remember I really, really liked the Jar decks, as well as I always ran the Jars playing like whether it's Tag Force or any of the Game Boy games. Because I really like playing mill decks as well too, like running things like Needleworm in my deck. Dark Bat, Reign of Mercy, Dimension Hole. Select one monster on your side of the field, remove from play. While the monster is removed from play, the monster zone to select the monster cannot be used. Dust Tornado. That's our second holo. Numinous Healer, Sword Hunter. Probably would have been a good tribute. Sky Scout. It's hilarious, actually, because this is actually called Harpy's brother. I don't actually know why they changed the name. It probably had to do with something to do with like the Harpies decks. But yeah, he was Harpy's brother. And I remember I loved running him because it was the 1800 beater. Like, what can really be better than an 1800 beater? Like, that and I think 7-colored fish. I'm not sure which set 7-colored fish was in. May have been Metal Raiders. I think I recall seeing 7-colored fish in that. Dust Tornado. I remember I sold the first edition one. I forgot how much I sold it for. I'm not sure if I still have another one, but I remember I sold it for like more than like 150 to 200. I was really shocked when someone bought it. Still kind of shocked, confused as to why Harpy's brother was changed to Sky Scout. Goblin Official. Inflicts 500 life points to your opponent. Cyber Falcon, 1400 attack. Thousand Idol, Twin-Headed Fire Dragon, Prohibition. I remember I have like a first edition of this as well too. Can't say it was really that useful. I don't remember seeing Bubonic Vermin when I was a kid, because then you can special summon one Bubonic Vermin and face down and shuffle your deck. I probably would have played it if I had that card, unless I didn't open that many Pharaoh Servants. I might not have opened that many Pharaoh Servants actually, because I don't remember having Nobleman of Extermination. I had Dust Tornado. I didn't have Magical Hats. Or maybe I just wasn't that lucky in getting some of these cards. Driving Snow, Attack and Receive, Gust. Magic Drain. I ran Magic Drain in my old deck as well too. Magic Drain, what it does is when they activate a spell card, if they don't dispel a spell card, then it negates it and destroys it. Bombardment Beetle, Major Riot, Bite Shoes, another Light of Intervention. Yeah, it's very, very nostalgic to kind of, I guess, like see the cards that I played as a kid and had in, I guess, like my GOAT deck. 7 completed. I remember seeing a lot of that in Forbidden Memories, that shitty PS1 game. Mystic Probe, Ground Collapse, Good card if you're playing like those stall mill decks. Force Requisition. When you discard from your hand, you can activate this card when you discard from your hand. After that, each time you discard a card, your opponent must also discard the same number of cards from their hands. That's actually not that bad if you're playing like a mill deck. Or you have things that make you discard cards from your hand. So you force your opponent to discard as well too. Solemn Wishes again. So far, both are hollows are traps. I remember again, in the other 2 boxes, there were 7 hollows in them. So does that mean I'll get 7 in this one too? So there's 5, should be potentially 5 more. Time Seal again. Again, if you think about it, if there are this many hollows in boxes when you're a kid, then that means that you're probably very unlucky if you never pulled any hollows. I always felt like, oh, I was really lucky when I pulled hollows, so I must have been really unlucky then. Each player targets 1 monster from the graveyard, special summon in face down position. Pretty meme. Another Bubonic Merman. 4-star Ladybug. I think I ran one of them in my deck. And just to get rid of 4-star monsters. Because there really wasn't like that many like good effect monsters that didn't require like tributes. Again, I did quit by the time Invasion of Chaos came out as well too. Dark Bat, Reign of Mercy, Michizure. When an opponent is sent, or a monster is sent from the field to the graveyard, even during a damage step, target 1 monster in the field and destroy it. This must have been a short print because I probably would have ran that in my deck. Another 2000 defense monster, Island Turtle, not bad. Sword Hunter. What exactly does Sword Hunter do? At the end of the battle phase, if this card destroys a monster by battle, send to the graveyard. Equip all of those monsters from the graveyard to this card as the equip spell. The equipped monster gains 200 attack. Huh? I think what they mean is Sword Hunter gets 200 attack for equipping the monster. The equipped monster gains 200 attack. Yeah, I think the wording is really weird. I think what they mean is Sword Hunter gets that. 1700 attack, 4-star. Another Ground Collapse. Type 0 Magic Crusher. You discard a spell card to inflict damage. Shift. So you just like target 1 monster you control and attack. Target another monster. So it's just like a swap. All-Seeing Tiger. Flame Champion. Solemn Wishes again. Dark Fire Soldier. Another 1700 beater. Again, if you didn't have Heartbeat Brother, then I guess like having 1700 4-star beaters is not bad. Skip your own standby phase. Cold Wave, again, good. Overdrive, another Shallow Grave. And we got Buster Blader. I remember what the hell is Respect Play? During your respective, each turn must show their opponent's hands. So you play with your hands off. I remember I probably would have really liked Buster Blader as a kid. Although, to be honest, the design of Buster Blader is not really that cool. Outside, like, oh, it's like one of Yugi's cards. Buster Blader himself is not really that cool of a card, to be honest. Just trying to get in the sleeve. But cool. We did get Buster Blader. Although I think I might have dinged a corner by trying to shove it into the perfect fit. I think I was a little bit impatient about it. It's fine. World Suppression, Overdrive, Gravity Bind. Gravity Bind is just something I ran again when I play like the mill deck. Gravity Bind was very useful to stall. I think we've pretty much seen most of the set, to be honest. Type 0 Magic Crusher, Spike Bot, Mad Sword Beast. I think I ran one of these as well too. Oh, Ceasefire. Mad Sword Beast is it does piercing. Pretty much it pierces through defense. Ceasefire. Interesting card actually. Oh, the foiling is actually messed up on this. If you look at the foiling on the Ceasefire, there's like a dot there where the foiling is. Interesting. So we got 4 hollows now. I'm still kind of sad. I kind of dinged the corner of the Buster Blader. I mean, it's not like I'm going to sell it. So Buster Blader gains attack based on the number of dragon monsters in your opponent's graveyard. Not that great for a tribute summon. A 2-cost tribute summon. Another morphine jar. Yeah, for like a 2-cost tribute summon, not the best. So technically we should be getting 3 more. There should be 3 more, as well as hollows, as well as 1 secret rare. Should be, I think. I think that's also one gripe I have of Yu-Gi-Oh cards where the... Oh, there you go. Parasite. I'll be honest, after playing Yu-Gi-Oh for so many years, I still have no idea what this card does. I remember every time we played the Game Boy games, I think Weevil would always use this card, and they'll just shuffle it into your deck, and I still have no idea what it actually does. So what it does is shuffle the card face up into your opponent's deck. If you draw this card after it was added to your deck by its effect, special summon it in defense position. If you do, take 1,000 damage. All monsters controlled by the player that summon this card becomes insect monsters. So I guess they all become insects. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I should have 2 more hollows. They all become insects and they take 1k damage. I guess it's kind of weird. You shuffle this card face up into your opponent's deck. So technically, wouldn't they see when they would draw the card then? Darkfire monster, Burning Land. Light Force Sword. Oh, another hollow. Mirror Wall, which is actually... Mirror Wall is actually really good. Or it used to be really good. For 2,000 life points per your standby phase, you get to half the opponent's attacking monster's attack power. So technically, even if you don't want to pay the life points, you could just kind of just do it for that 1 turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's it. That should be just 1 more hollow. My whole box was pretty much trap cards. They were all trap card hollows. That's actually kind of really weird. Skull Invitation. Skull Invitation, each time a card is sent to the graveyard, it does 300 damage to the owner of the card. So another kind of like burn card, right? So if I'm right, then our last card should be a secret rare. Vampire Baby. I've never seen this card before. At the end of the battle phase, if this card destroys a monster by battle, send it to graveyard. This turn, you can special summon that monster to your field. That's actually not bad, but for 700 attack, that would mean that you would have to like shove a bunch of equipped spells onto it. The funny thing is that I don't think I've seen any increased attack power equipped spells or like good ones, like another Nobleman of Extermination, like the good ones, another Sky Scout. Yeah, I think what I was saying was that the equip card I normally use was Malevolent Nuzzler. It increases by like I think 800 attack or something like that. But yeah, I would say like Yu-Gi-Oh, their card quality is just not that great. It's like so easy to damage the card as opposed to like if you play games like Final Fantasy. Oop. And that is our secret rare. I actually don't mind Jinzo as opposed to having Relinquish. Jinzo is actually really good. The funny thing is, when it comes to Jinzo, like as a kid, I always thought he was a 2 tribute summon because I was like, he's so good. Why would he only be a 1 cost summon? But he only costs 1 tribute to summon him, and then negates all traps on the field, and then they can't be activated. Like that's really fucking good for 1 cost. 1 tribute. and then it's only like 100 less attack than like a summon skull. So Jinzo is actually a really good card. Yeah, I actually don't mind Jinzo over Relinquish, actually. I actually don't really care for Relinquish. The funny thing is, even playing the Yu-Gi-Oh! Like games, I actually never really understood how to summon ritual monsters. I think even when I thought I understood it, for some reason, every time I try to summon it, it never worked. It is actually really funny if I think about it. So I don't think I should get any more. I don't think there should be any more hollows. Yep. So I think I got it right. There's pretty much 7 hollows per box. So in this box, I pretty much got a bunch of traps, Parasite, a Buster Blader, which I ended up kind of messing up the corner. I don't know if you see it. Yeah, I kind of messed up the corner on the Buster Blader. The camera won't focus on it, but I left the whitening on there. It's fine. I won't sell it. I guess that's one thing to be careful of. If you're using perfect fit sleeves, it could potentially damage that. We have the Ceasefire that kind of has like a slight misprint on it. The Dust Tornado and Magical Hats. Not really that happy about Magical Hats and Dust Tornado, but the rest of the hollows are pretty cool. I had Ceasefire as a kid. I had Dust Tornado as a kid. I didn't have the rest of these as a kid. So yeah, these are pretty good additions to my collection. Again, I would probably just say if you're using perfect fit sleeve, just be a little bit more careful. Or if you want to be on the safe side, you could just use penny sleeves, to be honest, and just top load them. But yeah, oh my god, the Jinzo actually looks really good on camera. Even the Parasite actually looks really good too. But the Secret Rare just looks so nice. Like the hollow patterns on these cards. Mirror Wall looks really good under lighting. Buster Blader got fucked up. RIP. Looks really good under lighting too. I think it's because like there's like a light directly on top of me, so that's why these cards look so nice. But yeah, that's pretty much it. We got Jinzo, and I think that's pretty much what I was aiming for with this box. Yeah, thanks for watching. Take care.